husbands, that even if some do not obey the word, they, without a word, may be won by the conduct of their wives, when they observe your chaste conduct accompanied by fear. Do not let your beauty be that of outward adorning, of arranging the hair, of wearing gold, or putting on fine apparel. But let it be the hidden person of the heart, with the incorruptible ornament of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is very precious in the sight of God. In this manner, in former times, the holy women who trusted in God also adorned themselves, being submissive to their own husbands, as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters you are, if you do good and are not afraid with any terror. Likewise, you husbands, dwell with them with understanding, giving honor to the wife as to the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers may not be hindered. Okay, so as we start the wives here, we'll keep all them in thought. The wife is instructed to submit to her husband. Very clear. Wives, submit to your own husband. The husband is given the responsibility of leadership, and the wife is to submit to his leadership. Very clear. Okay, God revealed order of headship is found in 1 Corinthians 11:3. We don't need to turn there. You're very familiar with this. The order of headship is God. First, Christ, man, and then woman. Okay, that's the order. That's God's order of headship. Okay, why? Why is man over woman, or woman to be subject or submissive to her husband? Paul gives a couple of reasons over in 1 Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 12 through 14. Paul says, "And I do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over a man, but to be in silence. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived fell into transgression." Okay, so there's two things given here. One, order of creation. Adam was formed first, and then Eve. And the second one is deception. The woman was deceived. The man was not deceived. She was deceived, fell into transgression. Those are two things that are given. Question? Comment? Lee?
Before you move on.
Okay.
From wives, that's it.
Oh, I'm not done with wives yet. Oh, no. Don't worry, husbands. You get your turn. I get my turn, right? The Bible points at me just as hard as it does as to the wives. Okay. Yes, a lot more here on this. Okay, here we go. This does not mean that the husband is the boss. Okay, yes, he is the head, but it doesn't mean that he's the boss and the wife is his slave. Okay? These are God-given roles that each are to fulfill. Remember, 1 Peter 3:7, they're equal heirs together of the grace of life. Doesn't mean that the woman is a lesser person in God's mind. She has her role, the husband has his role. Okay? So husbands, don't let your head swell up thinking that you're the boss. Okay, this was good. You guys probably have seen this before. Think of the creation account. God did not make woman from man's head to rule over man, nor from man's foot to be trampled on by man. But woman was formed from man's rib, so that she will be close to his heart, always at his side, and a helper through life. A man who finds a wife with this attitude finds a good thing. The key is the wife with this attitude. Brian's laughing. Proverbs 18:22. I have a couple of passages there. And it's very important. Attitude is everything. Well, okay, a lot. 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. A general rule, yes. A man who finds a wife with this attitude is a good thing. 19:14, right on the same page as mine is. Houses and riches are an inheritance from fathers, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Why is a prudent wife from the Lord? Because she follows the Lord. Okay. Okay, it says in the verse here, wives, submit to your own husbands as is fitting in the Lord. Her submission is fitting in the Lord. The Lord is pleased when we each fulfill the role he has given to us. Okay, the wife should willingly and voluntarily submit to her husband because she fears the Lord. That was in 1 Peter 3, 1 through 6. And I think that's the... Oh, yes. The word submission today. How many of you people know of people who, when they hear that word submission, that's like an evil thing? It's demeaning, degrading, you're just making people low. You know, it's like, wow. Think about it. Yes, John?
The world's perverted it. What it really means. Because you said what it really means in all those other verses you just did. It's an honor thing. We submit to God. I mean, to Jesus. He's our friend.
Yeah.
He's our brother, so he's right next to us, but he's also above us. It is an honor thing, and we give that to them. But that he is above us, of course, in that because he is God. But he's also, because he was here, he's with us too. It's just like our wives. They're, we may be above them, but we're not to be demeaned in that sort of way. They're our helper. They'll help us learn. They'll help us do everything we need to do, and as long as we do it the right way with the Lord. I mean, it's a congruent thing. It's like we're one. We're no.
Right. And you went right into my next point. We need to be careful of our thinking about submission. Must not let this thinking creep into the Lord's church. Remember, we all have to submit. Every single person that is alive is submitting, whether you admit it or not. If you're a Christian, you're submitting to God. If you're not a Christian, you're submitting to who? The devil. You are slaves to whom you obey. This is Romans. If you're obeying God, you're a slave to righteousness. And what is the end result? Life. If you're a slave to the devil, what's the reward? Death. We're all slaves. We all have to submit, don't we? Did Jesus submit to his Father's will? Think about this. John 6:36 or 6:38. That's exactly what he said. John 6:38. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. Jesus said, I'm submitting to my Father's will. Was it hard at times? Think about it. Luke 22:41. Turn over there. This is Jesus praying in the garden, okay? And Jesus was withdrawn from them about a stone's throw. He knelt down and prayed, saying, Father, if it is your will, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And an angel appeared to him from heaven, strengthening him. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly. His sweat became like great drops of blood falling down on the ground. Was that hard? You better believe that was hard. His sweat was like blood. That was hard. But he did it. He submitted to his Father's will. Yes, John.
Last Saturday, a week ago, there was a march on Washington of a bunch of feminists.
Yes.
And, most people would not have seen the vast majority of what went on there if they were watching it on television, because television would have had to bleep out major portions of what was being said. It was truly disgusting.
It was bad.
And there were probably some legitimate complaints, okay, against the president because of some of the things that he said. But some of the things that he said pale in comparison to the things that were being said over here that couldn't be shown.
Yeah.
And so the majority of people that know anything about the thing don't really know what went on down there. And it was, I mean, stuff was vile.
Just
Absolutely vile.
Yeah. Filthy.
Yeah.
Vile. Just
But-
obscene.
Yeah, but no sense that that's what actually went on, because the television couldn't show it.
Right.
Yes, we
We're in
do.
a bad place.
Yes, we do.
This world is not my home.
Yeah, that's right. A couple more points here. When we submit to our Father's will, we become think about it. It's like we're being, in a sense, tested. Jesus submitted. When we submit, we become what? More Christ-like. You know? Are there times when it's difficult? Yes. God has not forgotten. He knows if we're facing struggles, our submitting is difficult, when there's times when it's very, very hard. But he's pleased when we do what is right. That's what he wants us to do what is right.
He doesn't force us. You know, that's the thing about, about our lives. God gave us the ability to make decisions. God wants us to be submissive to him. He doesn't force us,
Right.
and that makes the bigger differences is because are you going to follow me?
Mhm.
If you are, show me by your actions.
Yeah. What you're saying is you've heard the story, there's three votes given.
Mm-hmm.
God cast one, the devil cast one. You get to choose. Which way you going?
Because, God allows those trials to test us and to see if we are wanting to fulfill. He may, just as Jesus had seen in his disciples at the time of Gethsemane, he said, why can't you watch for 1 hour? The flesh is weak. The spirit was wanting. It doesn't say why they were falling asleep. It wasn't because they were lazy. It was because they were seriously fighting also for Christ and stuff because of the things that was coming up. Also, but the thing is in our lives, we need to make those decisions, and we don't need to do it in front of everybody else. We need to do this in the areas and understanding that this is what God wants us to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
He gives us the choices,
Right.
and there are consequences, good and bad consequences of our actions. I think we, as Christians, need to be able to share and help others understand that there are consequences for the actions that we do.
Yes.
Because in today's society, they think and they see that there's really no consequence.
They don't want it. They don't want it.
But there is. They talk about supposedly karma. It's not karma. It's following God or doing something else. Are you going to allow God to take your vengeance, or are you going to do it and pay because of that?
That's the thing. People don't want to hear. People don't want to hear that there's consequences for their actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if there's not, then hey, I can do anything I want.
Right.
What to do.
Yeah.
But it's when it comes to judgment and that, it's going to be a lot of surprises for people because they're like, oh, well, you didn't want me to do that?
That's right. We need to tell them. We need to tell them.
Okay, I got one more point here, and then Lee's got his hand up. Okay, you guys have probably all heard the saying, doing something difficult builds character. My dad was great when, sweat builds character. Doing something hard builds character.
You said that too.
Yeah, I say that. Yeah, we're nothing original with me either. This builds godly character. Okay, that's what's important. Lee, you got the point.
I gotta get this out quick before my wife comes all right, so a woman submitting to a man is just like a lot of other submission roles, and that is, it's not difficult when you agree.
Right.
It's difficult when the two wills are different.
Yes.
And the more they're different, or the more strongly one feels, the more difficult it is for the woman to submit. So we have that idea set out there. So the man chooses X. The woman wants Y. She wants Y. And he asks her, honey, what do you think? And she says, I want Y, and here are the reasons why. And then in the end, he decides, no, we're going with X. Okay.
that scenario having played out, the question is, do you think submitting in the right attitude leaves room for the woman then to, every time she can, say, well, I told my husband 5 times, I'm doing it, I'm doing what he said, but I told him, I tried to tell him, but I'm doing what he said. Does submissiveness on the woman's part allow for that?
I don't believe so, because that's kind of showing the wrong attitude. She has to submit to his lead. If his lead is taking them down a path that may not be as wise as Y would have been instead of X, then let God dole out the consequences and the
So
man learn.
even if she was right and she was wiser,
Yeah. I believe so. Questions, comments?
that has an idea, that has, what he said would make the wife look like she's not very submissive in the first place because she's constantly berating him
Yeah.
like that.
I don't envy their position.
Right.
Probably, yeah.
And therefore, now I'm going to stand up on a different soapbox. Be careful who you marry. Do not marry someone who is not a Christian. I cannot say it's a sin, but I want to tell you right now, it's not very wise. We all know examples of this.
Not everyone should be married either. Because if you're not gonna obey the God-given rules,
That's right.
don't do it. Don't force yourself into sinning.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to be single than, as Paul said.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I mean, there's times where there's gonna be disagreements, and but if you're gonna force yourself to sin, and you know your own character,
Mm-hmm.
think about your character, pray on your character, pray that you can change your character, but don't do something on a haste and think your character is just gonna change. Because both of us have characters, we
We all need trained, right?
both need to submit our wills to God.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not willing to change our characters, there's no sense in doing it. I mean, no sense in even starting it to begin with.
George, you have a point.
Quickly, as relates to what Lee just mentioned, my limited experience so far has been that if I make a bad decision, Janice has 2 options. One is to fight me on it, in which case I don't learn and she does the wrong thing. Or 2,
Right.
let me crash and burn, in which
Yeah.
case I learn and she hasn't done the wrong thing. And as painful as that is, thus far, my experience only, the better option. Because otherwise, I don't learn and
God will teach us. Sometimes we have to learn hard, but He will teach us.
Builds character.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, husband, you're gonna have to wait until next week. We'll have to stop there. Thank you.
There's been a few changes.
They've been changed.
Me?
Been changed.
Oh, okay.
My computer is not. Can you bring yours over? My finger behind me. Yeah. Thank you.
There's a bunch of changes.
Is there?
I'm leaving Tom.
That's the Lord. Okay.
George, Zachary's number, so when you're going to talk to him and encourage him as you can.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Yeah, so I'm Rob, George's voice is shot, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So Rob's still with the Lord's Supper.
So you still have me down for